The Pan-African Parliament will convene in Midrand, north of Johannesburg. PAP President Chief Fortune Charumbira says they're on course to revive the image of this institution. Recently, Charumbira was elected in the relatively calm environment. Khayelihle Khumalo joins us now. A very good morning to Khayelihle. Tell us about the significance of this specific Pan-African Parliament session.
Well, absolutely, Desiree. It is a very important session as the Pan-African Parliament is talking about repositioning itself and being more responsive to the challenges that are facing the continent. You look at today's program, for example, they talk about an array of issues from peace and security, the issues of strengthening some of the very important institutions meant to support democracy. You look at your African peer review mechanism and many other institutions as well. But to really just try and get a sense of how will the Parliament be repositioning itself is, of course, the head of Botswana's delegation, Mr. Khayelihle. So, sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. So, it's quite a very monumental task to reposition this institution that has always been facing a number of challenges where we've seen divisions, but recently we saw the election of the new president and the bureaus. But tell us about how you're planning to reposition this institution.
Thank you very much to the listeners. All in all, it's very simple to reposition the Pan-African Parliament because we will be incurring from the position of the AU, and at the same time there's a benchmarking position that we have to embark on. If we can see the role of the European Parliament and the role of the American Parliament, the Congress, so we have to make sure that we have been accused to perform below the expectations. Now we want to reposition ourselves so that we can deliver what has been expected from us as a legislatures of the continent. That is the main purpose that we are here for. So we are starting with a capacity building. So the members of parliament, they should know the role and the mandate of the Pan-African Parliament so that they can at the same time educate the people in their respective country about what is the Pan-African Parliament stand for. That is why we are here.
And obviously the heart of this session is the issue around, for example, the Malabo Protocol. We know this is very important in terms of making sure that the Parliament is given powers in terms of legislative oversight. What would be your word to the member states and your fellow MPs in terms of making sure that they ratify this important instrument?
The most important thing is in the Malabo Protocol, we have to make sure that we educate the current leadership of the respective member states, simply because it has been done in 2003. So most of them, they were not there in the office. So if we cannot educate them and we are expecting the signature from them, so it's very, very tedious exercise. So we have to make sure that we embark on a education mission to make sure that we're going to educate the member state what is the meaning of the Malabo Protocol and what is going to be the benefit from the signature if they can append the signature in the Malabo Protocol, the benefit that is going to come up with the signatures.
And maybe just before I let you go, Sam, I mean, there was a point where this house was characterized by the divisions between the so-called French-speaking part of Africa and those who are English-speaking parts of the continent. Have we overcome those challenges in terms of being aligned in terms of the vision and the Pan-African approach in so many challenges facing the continent?
You know, sometimes the division can be bred by a certain individual, and the division can be put down by a certain individual. Currently, we have a leader who's fighting to make sure that he's talking the language of integration in reality. So currently, we will see each and every region is represented in the bureau, in the respective committees. So the people, they can see that, no, indeed, the Pan-African Parliament belongs to all of us. It's not belong to a certain region who have a more numbers or more influence. So all of us, we feel at home while we are in a Pan-African Parliament.
Yeah. And quite a very important role to play sir? Because, I mean, for example, when you talk about the Continental Free Trade Area, it's likely to be a very critical instrument in terms of changing the fortunes of the continent economically, but the issue of peace and security is still a big impediment in this regard.
Yeah, no, the free trade agreement, you know that we are talking this language because it's there in Rwanda. So most of the members of parliament, when we are in our caucuses, they will be saying, no, you know, I don't know anything about PAP. So I don't know anything about PAP. What more about a free trade agreement? What more about a peace and security? So which means the challenge is not the members of parliament who are here. The challenge is our member states, which means because they are not coming from the vacuum, they are coming from the society. So the society which they are coming from, they are not aware of the Pan-African Parliament. So we have to make sure that we educate the people of all those agreements that we have been embarked on as a African Union. So which means the Pan-African Parliament, it is going to facilitate to make sure that we came to a realization of the trade agreement.
And just before I let you go, say, what would be your role as the Pan-African Parliament? Quite a number of countries are having elections. The Angolans will be heading to the polls tomorrow. Recently, we saw Kenyans as well going to the elections. What has been a clear message from your president, Chief Charumbira, was that, you know, there should be an acceptance of the will of the people. The electoral results should be respected. But what would be your message to other countries that will go to the elections, your Angola, your Lesotho, you know, just in the very forthcoming period? What would be your message to the leaders, the political actors, and just the citizens as well?
You know, we have to understand one thing. When we go into the elections, we are pledging ourselves to say, I'm here to serve you as the representative in the office of the presidency or whichever position that you are willing to represent. But the most important thing, once the results are out, we have to respect the result, because the people, they have spoken loud and clear. So we have to live with that spirit to say, no, if these people, they have spoken, they have spoken. You can be a professor of law, professor of whatever, but you stand against someone who has won 14 tenders and decided to go and buy all the electorates, and they have rallied behind him. So let's respect that. It's the people who have killed themselves. It's not you who killed themselves. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Khayelihle, thank you so much indeed, sir, for your time. Of course, Desiree, he is the head of Botswana's delegation here at the Pan-African Parliament. So there's quite a number of issues that they are expected to feature prominently here. The issue around also the COVID-19 in the continent, as much as we've seen that the pandemic has subsided in so many respects, but there are still so many challenges that are still facing the continent. The issue, particularly around economic recovery, it is a big issue, because now the issue as well of food security in the continent, as much as we have seen, you know, just those ships moving from the Black Sea to the continent and bringing the grain and sort of just bringing a relief to the continent that is facing a myriad of challenges. So there's a glimmer of hope that's now the issues of the divisions, the differences that have characterized the proceedings will be the thing of the past. And there's a sense of optimism that's now the MPs here do understand the mandates that they have from their member states, from the continent, in terms of making sure that the issues of economic integration and many other issues are addressed.